Camera is rolling.
This is the interview video.
Podcast.
Podcast. Wait, the interview show.
Oh, the
Let's
interview
not
show.
get behind ourselves.
The interview show. Take one, final.
Yeah.
That was a weak clap. Let me do another one. There you go.
I'll allow it.
That's how you clap it.
Are we gonna start now?
I guess so.
Hi everybody, we're Dream Press Productions.
Yes, I'm Steve Des.
And I'm Christina Cropper.
And we have a special guest today. He's not only an actor, a writer, an improviser, a director, a sketch person. He does a lot of stuff. He's my good old buddy, Jason Echols. He's in the building.
Hey,
What?
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for being here. Part of Dream Press Productions.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk a little bit about the stuff that you do, because you do a lot of awesome stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah, man. I've been seeing all the things that you've done. Like, you are a master. That's the first thing I want to start with. You're like a master traveler. Because I'm a person, I only travel in the Caribbean, the United States. Mm-hmm. But you know, like, your countries in Africa. Mm-hmm. You've been to Iceland. Like,
so I'm less of a master traveler and more of a master geographer.
Geographer? Okay.
Yeah. I love geography. I've loved it since like social studies in the 4th grade. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do love to travel, but you know, I'm weird about maps. Like, I have a lot of maps in my house. I have old maps, and I just like to like know the outlines of a country. I like to know like capitals of countries and cities, and you know, Google Earth. It's like a beautiful thing because you can like go down into like the city streets and explore. Yeah. And I've gone into like weird neighborhoods and explored. It's incredible. I love it.
I hope you played it safe. You know, you don't know those.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You know, I play it safe just so that the guy driving the Google car doesn't have to go like too deep into like the alleys and whatnot. So I look out for that guy for sure.
Yeah. Now the real question is, how much time have you spent on Google Earth? Because I know some people go there for hours.
So when I first discovered it, it was that. It was like watching a movie every night. I would spend like a couple hours on Google Earth. It was amazing. Like, I can go anywhere in the planet that I want and see what it looks like. Anywhere.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
So I mean, obviously you can go to like the Eiffel Tower or something. But what about that weird little neighborhood somewhere in Djibouti somewhere? You know what I mean? Like, I want to see what those guys are doing and what their, you know, commute looks like. So I would, and the weird part is, I would get on the freeway and just click the button for like 20 minutes to see where it went. You know what I mean? Not so much anymore, but yeah, I'm pretty good with geography and I'm pretty good with, you know, what's going on in the world.
And talk about scanning stuff, and we're talking earlier about Google Home, because Christina has a Google Home here, and you were saying like, oh, the government.
Yeah, I don't trust it.
So about that,
yeah.
So you know when Pokemon Go came out?
Yeah.
So I played it for like a week, and
okay.
that's it. Then I erased it and everything, because I discovered that apparently, they were using the information. They partnered with Google. Mm-hmm. In order to like get the, you know, to play with Pokemon and everything, get the locations. But the real reason Google partnered with them is because people are like being like completely agreeable to like start basically filming inside their homes, so they can track all that and get it in their database.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. That sounds completely accurate. I mean, and it may not even be sinister. Like, we think like, oh, if you have that information, something sinister is going to happen. It may not be, but also there's a chance that it could be.
A little bit of both, yeah.
Yeah, but without a doubt, if they have that technology, I mean, if I had that technology, I'm going to store that data. I want to know what the inside of your house looks like for future reference in case I ever need to know. You know what I mean? It's good to know that stuff. Like, not only to prevent like maybe a possible threat or something like that, but I mean, it's data. No one throws data away. You know what I mean? For what? So yeah, they're absolutely doing it. I call them like the Amazon Echo and the HomePod, and what's the Google one called?
Google Home.
Google Home. Yeah, I mean, I just call them Snitch Box. Just the Amazon Snitch Box to me.
I'll put SB on mine later.
It's listening to us right now. It doesn't matter. Google is here. They're
supposedly you can mute it on the back.
Yeah, supposedly. I bet.
Well, I'm gonna turn it orange.
Muted.
Yeah. Disclaimer: it's
sure.
muted.
Sure, it's muted.
We'll just
now it's actively listening even more.
Yeah. It's like it turns itself up. It turns the volume up. The microphone like hears everything triple time now.
The fact that there's a mute button does not make me feel better.
Yeah.
It's
what do you call it? A placebo? It's a placebo.
Yeah,
it's not doing anything. It's just to make you feel better. Yeah.
And we met through, I believe, Second City, right?
Yeah, probably somewhere in the improv
like
sketch
the
world.
improv sketch world and stuff. And we moved relatively. I mean, at least in the same year. It was February for you, October for me, 2011.
Right.
So it's been 7 years officially for you. Not yet 7 years for me,
Yeah,
but
living
soon,
in LA.
very soon, living in LA.
Mm-hmm.
How does 7 years living in this wild, crazy place from Michigan?
Yeah.
How is that different?
You know what, man? It's funny because we don't get seasons here. You get like spring and summer, and you get like award season. That's it, right? It's like that's what you get. So time moves in a weird way because like I don't have like the winter and fall to judge anything by. So it's all summer for me. And so it's kind of hard to tell like, how time passes. It doesn't feel like 7 years. I mean, people always say like, oh, you know, time goes faster when you get older, but it doesn't. I don't even know how long I've been here. I mean, time really feels like a construct in LA more than anywhere else I've ever been. Or maybe just because I'm getting older too. It just doesn't feel like any time has passed, to be honest with you. And then you go back and like maybe look at something you did 5 or 6 years ago, and then it starts to feel like, oh man, that was 7 years ago. Because 7 years feels like a long time, right?
Yeah.
That's a long time in a human existence. That's like a real fraction of your life.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I don't even try to keep track of it anymore. I just like live now.
Supposedly every 7 years you are a completely different person.
That's true. I probably am a different person than I was 7 years ago. Because your cells regenerate,
Yeah.
and every 7 years you're a new person. So yeah.
Now, how were you when you moved here? Like, how was your mentality and
That's a good
everything?
question.
What's the difference between that and now?
So when I first moved here, I was wildly ambitious. You know what they say? Like when people first move to LA, I've heard from a lot of like actors and entertainers that when they first move here, something kind of happens immediately. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they book something, or they get introduced to like, you know, some people that can kind of help steer them, or just like something kind of instrumental happens that makes them feel like I'm supposed to be here, or this is the right place for me. And I've had that experience too, but I think what was your question again, Steve? Before I got lost in my thought.
No, like what? How was your like?
Oh, how am I different?
Different. Like how was your mentality and everything
Yeah.
when you moved out here, and then what's the difference between that and now?
Honestly, I feel like I kind of found a groove, and I may have gotten a little lazy. That's what it feels like. But also, I understand that sometimes you just gotta chill, man, and just like let things sort of happen. I'm not saying like sit back and like, all right, industry, I'm gonna wait for you to call me and all this is gonna work out. It's not that, but it's more of like, hey man, I'm not gonna stress it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a lot more stress free than I was when I first moved here. I just kind of like take it as it is, and when it happens, it happens. When it doesn't, it doesn't. But just kind of keeping myself busy and occupied.
Yeah.
But when I first got here, I was just like, oh, go hit the ground running, go meet with agents, go do blah 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 blah, go hit the casting directors, do. And it's just like, this is too much, man.
Yeah.
And it's like you're running in circles. So you find your sect, you find your group, your tribe, and you're like, all right, so these are the casting directors that I want to talk to. Here's the agents or managers I want to be a part of. Here's the part of the industry I want to be a part of, and then you hit that. So more focused, less wild ambition.
And how long did it take you to like find that tribe, find a group
Mm-hmm.
of people that you actually can be good friends with and get along with?
I would say that took from maybe 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah,
Wow.
from like 11 to 2015 probably. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. To really find, I mean, because I took a bunch of acting classes and those people were great, but I think maybe I talked to one of those people, of all those people that I, you know, was in the acting class with for, you know, all that time. Like, they're fine people, but clearly they weren't necessarily my tribe, you know what I mean? The people that I need to work with, because it would have happened, you know? So, I mean, it is what it is, but all those things are important because you learn and you pick up things from all over the place, and that's what we're here for. But yeah, to really find where I felt really comfortable, 4 years for sure.
Nice. That's a sweet number though. It's like
Yeah.
4
Yeah.
square.
And living in a big city, like this is a city, I have this theory that either you're made for this city and you stay for the long run, or this city spits you out.
Oh yeah.
And in order to stay for the long run, there's certain habits that we have to like throw out.
Okay.
Because you have to grow as a person. And one that I had crazy was road rage.
Mm.
Like I would go late for auditions and blame everybody in traffic.
Yep.
But then I learned that's my problem that I need to fix. And I calmed down and I'm more of a chill person. What type of bad habits did you have when you were like out here?
Well, listen, road rage wasn't necessarily one of them, but a bad habit for me was coming from Detroit where there's not a lot of traffic. I would be late for everything when I first got here. Because like I didn't know like, oh, okay, it's going to take 3 times as long, and you're going to have to find parking. So you need to like leave. If you got to be somewhere in 15 minutes, you got to leave an hour early. And that was like a real, that was like a bad habit I had to break. What's another like really bad habit? I didn't have a lot of bad habits, Steve.
Oh, you were perfect from the
okay. One just came up.
Well, you made it here, right?
When I first came out here, it was my first time living so far away from home. So my thing was like I wanted to experience the world. I wanted to get to know as many people as possible. And I kind of started taking in a lot of strays, you know what I mean? Like a lot of stray people. And LA's a weird place, you know what I mean? Yeah. And maybe you don't need a lot of weird energy around you, but I had a bunch of it. And that was a mistake. I mean, God bless everyone I met my first 4 or 5 years here, really. And many of you were great, but some of them were flat out nuts. And like you got a lot of nuts energy around you, it's gonna make you off balance, man. You're gonna be spinning in every direction, trying to like, keep up with these people and trying to figure out like, wait, did they just say that? Did they mean it? Are they crazy? Like, are they just trying to irritate me? Like, but yeah, so kinda narrowing down who you need to invest your time and energy into as well. Now I know that might sound even like a little what's the word? That might sound like a little like
elitist?
Yeah, it sounds like a little elitist, but the truth is we only have so much time in the day. Yeah. And if we dedicate all of it to like the crazy people, listen man, it's not too long before you're going to be a crazy person. And I got to go out one day, but it's not going to be like that,
Yeah, I mean, or the crazy people just gotta get with their crazy group, and then it'll make sense to them too.
And then it'll make sense.
Like,
I don't want it to make sense to me. You know what I mean? I'm fine with being on the outskirts of crazy. And more power to the crazy people. The world needs a few crazy people for sure.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we have a crazy president.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't even know if crazy is the word anymore. I don't even know if that's the word for that guy.
Yeah, that sounds relevant.
Yeah.
And then you got started. You fell in love, I guess, with improv.
Yeah.
What was the thing that captivated me was because I come from a stand-up background.
Yeah.
I started stand-up comedy in Florida in 2009, and when I moved out here, one of the first teams I saw was actually Sasha's team at the time, called Bootsy Collins.
Oh yeah.
Shoni, Patricia, a bunch of people that are great friends of mine up to this day, and I just saw them like in Second City performing all the time, and I felt mesmerized because I'm like. They're making this on the spot. Yeah. Like, it's insane because I never done that ever in my life. Yeah. And I was like, I need to take classes eventually and do all that. And it took me like a year and a half to have the courage to actually like do it. What made you like start improv?
Did you say it took you a year before you started taking classes?
I was just going to shows.
Like, I got you. Okay.
Straight up going to shows.
You just captivated. You're like, this is great.
I was like, this is great. I want to do it someday, but I don't feel. First of all, I don't have the capital for it right now. And I don't have like the courage yet to go put myself there because it was like nerve-wracking to me at the beginning.
Yeah. So I started in Detroit, and I started with a group called the Improv Brothers.
Okay.
And there was we just kind of like an open call. There was a buddy of ours, Jerry Bellinger, who owned a bar in Detroit called the Park Bar. And upstairs there was just like this big cavernous warehouse space. And he's like, hey, you guys can use the space wherever you want while we like develop the bar downstairs or whatever. We're like, oh, well, let's start doing improv. So we called it Tuesday Night Fight Club. And the first rule of Fight Club was to tell everybody about Fight Club. And anyone who wanted to come upstairs and improvise with us can come up there, we improvise, and it was basically a party, So, and sometimes we would have like 30, 40 people come up, and then other times it'd be like 4 people, you know what I mean? And we did that for like maybe 18 months. We took like maybe 4 months off at that time.
Consistently 18 months?
Maybe 4 months off in between that because they had to like remodel the bar or whatever. But then like slowly we like built a stage in there and we started saying, well, let's start doing shows on Wednesday nights. So we started doing these shows on Wednesday nights, rehearsals on Tuesday, and we did it as a weekly show for pretty close to 2 years.
Damn.
And at one point we were the only improv team in Detroit proper. All the other improv shows and companies and theaters, they were all outside of the actual city limits. We were the only ones. And for an improv show, we were getting a lot of people. At one point, we were getting about 80 people a night at an improv show. And like, that was just like our way of life. We were pretty good. We didn't have any formal training. We had one guy, Mike Targis, who had like gone to Chicago and done like a bunch of training and whatnot. And we were just a bunch of loose renegade actors. And like, all right, teach us improv. And he just taught us like the fundamentals of improv. And we didn't have any structure. And we just went from there. And we did long form improv, long form stories. By the end of it, there was 8 or 9 members. And I remember like that was hard to get 8 or 9 members over the course of almost 2 years, right? But then once we started doing the shows, they generated so much energy. Like newspapers were coming out and writing about us. And then all of a sudden people were like, hey, we want to be a part of the improv. And I'm like, no, you don't. Get out of here. You got to put in 18 months or you can't, you know. And then I ended up doing a show at Second City. That kind of got me away from that for a little bit in Detroit.
The original Second City.
Not Chicago.
Oh, not Chicago.
Detroit. Just before they closed.
Oh wait, they got a division also in Detroit.
They did. It's closed now.
Okay.
I did the last show there before they closed. It was a show that Mark Warzeka actually wrote.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And
shout out to Mark.
Hey, shout out to Mark Warzeka. Hi, guy.
He's doing big things.
He's doing great things always. He's a great guy. Yeah, so that was that, and so that kind of got me away from doing improv in Detroit for a little bit, and then I did a few films and whatnot, and then I came out here to LA.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was my improv journey, as it would be. And I mean, I just never stopped doing it. Like the Improv Brothers, we kept playing even out in LA. 2 of the members came out here, Julian Gann and Mike Targis, and we played together for a few years. You know, we still play. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And when you moved out here, did you go straight to Second City, or did you?
So I haven't actually did any like conservatory training. Okay. I just knew a bunch of Second City people.
Okay.
So yeah, I never took an improv class in my life until recently. I started going to UCB.
Oh, okay.
And only because I just want to do more improv. So I was like, I need to learn a structure and be a part of it. Because I mean, I know how to improv.
Yeah.
I just didn't know any like straight structure format. I wasn't a part of any school of thought. Or like, so there was no like, method to the mayhem. But I mean, it wasn't like, I wasn't garbage at it.
Streets.
Yeah, I did street improv. It was hard knock life improv. And it was my favorite.
Have you ever like put like a hat and be like, what time is it? Showtime! Improv showtime!
And put a hat on the street to get collect change?
Yeah.
Yes, of course I've done that.
You done that?
No! Why? No one's ever done that. Well, someone's done it for sure.
Someone has
So
done
it's like,
it.
that would be great though. How come busters on the street aren't doing improv? I would stop and watch for a little bit. I would, no matter how bad it was. If somebody was busted on the street with a hat doing improv, I would stop and give them a few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a great thing to watch, like, for free walking down the street. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll take this.
Yeah, I'll take a minute of free improv. I love it.
My improv journey, I started in Second City, and while in Second City, everybody in Second City was giving me advice to get out of Second City. Hilarious, because they're like, you're young, people are not going to see you here, you should go to Groundlings or UCB.
Yeah.
And at the time, every time I saw a UCB team, they will always go blue. Blue meaning like they will curse and stuff.
Sure.
Like, yeah. And I was like, I don't want to do that. So I went to
Do you work clean as a comedian?
Not really.
Yeah. But your improv, you didn't want any.
And my improv, I wanted to like still learn, the basics and stuff, but I still felt so fresh.
You didn't want the cheap curse laugh.
Yeah. I wanted to like really work for it.
Yeah.
And so I went to Groundlings, but then Groundlings I took they hold you back so much.
Yeah.
And you don't get almost no stage time. And now you get a little more because they have G4. I mean, whatever it's called that the students perform. But at the time, they didn't have none of that.
Right.
Like I got lucky that I got in that lottery show and I got to perform with Taron Killam and like some people that do SNL now or used to do SNL.
Yeah.
And but then after that, I was like, I need to go to UCB because at least they have a graduation show. And I did UCB up to like 301. After that, like I got into like 7 different teams. And I was performing with like I ended up performing with Shoni and Patricia and like all these different people.
Yeah.
And it was a great journey. But then after that, I was like, I need to get back to stand up. I'm doing too much improv, and now I'm like focusing so much on stand up.
So are you done with improv? Is that what you're doing?
Not done.
Yeah.
Necessarily, but I am way more focused in stand-up than improv, just because that's my first love.
And you enjoyed your improv journey.
Yeah, and honestly, the reason I took improv was to reinforce my stand-up.
Yeah.
Because when I was dealing with hecklers, I felt like I was too attached to my script.
Yeah.
And I couldn't like improvise. Now I'm a much better. I won't say I'm a great, but I'm a much better stand-up comedian because of the improv.
Now see, that's interesting because I did stand-up for a little bit too. And I didn't get heckled that much. I remember one time I got heckled, and I remember the guy, like, I had a joke about Detroit or whatever, and the guy was like, who the hell wants to go to Detroit or whatever? And I was like, yeah, exactly. And then I got back to the joke, and that was it. It's like, I agree with the heckler. You're right, bud. And then we got back to it. That's the only time I've ever been heckled. Like, what's the worst time you've ever been heckled?
The worst time I ever been heckled, it's tough to say because a lot of my old comedy, I kind of like washed it off.
Sure, yeah.
Because even those jokes, I'm like, I wasn't even telling jokes at that time.
Yeah.
But I remember I was at the Improv in West Palm Beach.
Mm-hmm.
It was like probably like my 8th performance there at the time. I was like 17, 18 years old, very young. And like I was talking about how my sister, I have 3 older sisters. My older sister, she's always been with white guys, so her babies are white.
Okay.
And she, instead of beating her kids, she would put them on timeout.
Sure.
And I would like make fun of like how like, oh, supposedly white people, I'm talking about my sister specifically, but I'm like, oh, white people put people in timeout when my mom used to beat me or whatever.
Yeah.
And when I was telling that, like drunk people, like there was this drunk lady going like, leave that shit out of us! Leave that shit out! Like just screaming.
Yeah.
And I just kept with my performance, like I just ignored it. And I just kept with my performance and I never addressed it.
Yeah.
Because I was like even nervous to address it because I'm like, what about if she just hijacks my show or something? Like, I don't
What if
even know
she's
what
way
to do.
funnier than me?
Yeah.
What if she comes on the stage and
grabs
snatches
the mic? Yeah.
I can't get it back.
have
She's too
no-
strong. She's keeping me back. And she,
Yeah.
Oh,
So
boy.
I just kept it to my set.
Like, literally hijack
my
your
set.
show.
Yeah. And I seen that happen.
Really?
I seen that happen recently.
Yeah.
I was doing the haha, and thankfully that did I didn't have a heckler at the time because I was like in the middle.
Yeah.
But the first like 30 minutes of the show, like there was this heckler dude from the beginning. He walked in drunk,
Uh-oh.
so he was already.
Yeah.
He owned the place already.
Yeah, and he was heckling the heck out of comedians and especially the host.
Yeah.
Like he was going off on the host. He even bought a drink to the host and everything. He's like, "Bro, I don't want a drink. Just buy your 2-drink minimum. That's it."
It's chess right there.
And he's like, "No, that's
It is
not
chess. That's a chess match. That's a move.
That's drunk chess.
He's like, I'm not leaving. Take this drink and these insults. Like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing about stand-up I don't understand. People can come in and heckle. How come nobody ever gets kicked out for heckling the comedian?
That's supposed to
Interesting.
happen,
Yeah.
especially in clubs. In clubs, they have a policy usually that if someone is heckling, especially if you're like, if you got booked to do that show, like if someone flew you to North Carolina to do a show,
Yeah.
by the club law,
Mm-hmm.
if you do like a sign or something,
Yeah.
they're supposed to throw that person out because it's your show.
Yeah.
But that's in regular clubs.
Yeah.
I've been getting, I do shows in like sporadic and like
Yeah.
different little theaters here and there. They don't have that.
Right,
policy.
yeah.
They don't
I mean,
have a
you know,
security person
Yeah,
there.
there's not a security person.
It's like the only thing you can do is like shut them down with some verbal attacks.
Yeah.
But that's it, dude. That's the most you can do.
Yeah.
Kill
You
them
know.
with kindness.
It's like, oh, nice tie, sir. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
That's interesting, though. I mean,
Your eyes.
like stand-up comedy is really the only art form where like you're allowed to like destroy the artist like in the moment, right? It's like if you don't like a painter, there's something you can do. You go to the museum, like, oh, this is trash, and you leave. No one even writes a review about it. Like if you're a food critic or whatever, you destroy that chef's food. But in stand-up comedy, like it's in the moment, and in improv, no one heckles.
Have you ever been heckled at improv? I was gonna
No,
ask
Oh,
that.
that
that's
sounds
never happened.
really
I've never seen
unstable.
it happen. I've never seen it happen, but I've seen stand-up comedians like heckled off the stage before. I've seen stand-up comedians lose to the person in the audience because the person in the audience is funnier. I've watched it happen, and I've laughed because I'm going to laugh at the funniest person.
Yeah.
If it's funny, it's funny. I'm there to laugh. I don't care who's making me laugh.
It's
I'm
gotta
there.
burn.
I'm there to laugh. Oh, it's terrible.
Oh,
yeah.
gotta
It's
burn.
terrible.
Yeah.
My thing is, in my mind's eye, if your set is good enough that it's like captivating the audience, you probably shouldn't get a heckler. So like there's that part of me that says, it's your fault you're getting heckled. You weren't good enough. But also there's always gonna be that drunk guy that's gonna come in and he's gonna destroy whoever's up there or try to ruin their show. So it's probably a good skill to learn to be able to shut down a heckler as a stand-up comedian. You hear about those old school guys like Bernie Mac who would like do stand-up in the train station on the platform. And every day, like he'd have his amp and his microphone out there doing stand-up. I mean, that's a hell of a place to do stand-up.
Yeah, damn.
People don't want to hear it, and you're gonna get tough. on the Chicago platform doing stand-up. So, I mean, it's a good skill to have, I guess.
So I always wondered about heckling, because I've liked comedy and stuff, but I was never, like, in close proximity to understand all the things directly about it. Like, when I'm watching stuff and I'm, like, so into it, I start, like, throwing in things that I think are funny, but it's just really interrupting all the shit that's going on.
Yeah.
So, like, is there, like, a broad description of a heckler, or is it, like, specifically somebody who's just out there to, like, this is stupid, I'm just gonna make fun of this person up here, or is there, like, a lot of gray area?
In my experience, there is gray area, right? Because there's the heckler who just wants... There's the mean heckler. Like, there's, like, the mean heckler or, like, the racist heckler who, you're in my town for the night, and I don't like the way you look, I'm gonna let you have it. I'm not trying to be funny, I'm just mean, And then there's the person who's like, I'm funnier than this guy's not making me laugh. Or they think of a funny joke, and they've been drinking because there's a 2-drink minimum, and like, I don't have a filter. I'm gonna out-funny this guy, or here's my moment to shine and get a moment. Because, the average human doesn't have the strength of character to really get on stage and talk to a bunch of people. That's not the right word for the character, the courage. They don't have the courage to get on stage, and I mean, that's a hard thing to do. To have 100, 200 people in a room, like, judging you, and like, your job is to make me laugh. Now go, and I better laugh too, or I'm going to be upset. Yeah. And people get upset when they go to a comedy club, because before you get to the club, think about this. You have to pay a babysitter. You've already called your wife and told her, like, it's time to go out tonight, and put on your nice makeup, so she's got the makeup on and the dress. And you go to the club and you've paid for parking, you go get dinner, so now you got the babysitter, parking, dinner, you pay to get in the club, and you got 2 drinks. Before the comedian comes out, you're at least $100 in the hole, right? At least. So you're already like, this better be funny. And if it's not, that comedian's you're gonna hear about it. So in that way, I kind of respect the heckle. You know what I mean? But also, I remember Frank Sinatra used to say something. He used to say, like I know him. Frank Sinatra used to tell me. I've heard Frank Sinatra used to, like, tell other acts and his son that he goes, when you get up there to perform, you give everything you got. You come professional, you come prepared, because those people, they worked hard. These people worked in factories and do jobs they hate to be able to come out on a Friday night to see you perform, and they're paying you money. You owe them a good time. It's not like they have to earn it from you. You owe it to them. And that's what you're supposed to do as an entertainer. You're supposed to, like, bring lightness to people's lives. And so do it. Don't come up there, like, working on your new material on a Friday night in front of a fresh crowd, a hot crowd. Get up there and make them laugh. Even if you've done the material 1,000 times, that's the time that they need to hear it. So in that way, I kind of respect the heckle. Because some comedians deserve to get heckled. Not to say you were one of those guys, but,
It's like when you think you're too good, you have something in life that's going to tell you,
yeah, exactly. Like, get it together, man. If you want to, like, do this forever. I've seen comedians that have deserved to be heckled before. I've gone to, like, comedy shows where I've paid admission. You got to get your cheese sticks and your drink or whatever. And then you're sitting there and the guy's, like, working on new material. And he is, because he's sitting there thinking about what to say. Or he's waiting for someone in the crowd to say something so he can do crowd work. Don't do that to me.
Yeah, you don't be that person.
You don't do that. I paid $20 to get in here, and I just paid $10 for each, each thing. So it's like, don't do that. And so that's upsetting even then, So that's my 2 cents on heckling.
Now, after so many years of doing and experiencing live performance, do you now prefer having a full crowd, having a few people in the crowd, or you don't care?
No performer wants a few people in the crowd.
I do.
Really?
Well, I don't ask for it, but I'm like, I literally can perform. I literally do this.
3 people. Yes.
No. Listen, I perform in front of an empty crowd.
Yeah. What? Like, so no one?
Like
no one. No. On my show on Tuesdays. Like, at the end of every show, I wave everybody goodbye, and then I do at least 10 minutes
with no one there. Why? What's the point of that?
I like it.
I mean, yeah, you like it, but why? What is it doing for you?
It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
It's good for me. I like just the fact that I'm, like, in the environment, in the element, and just letting my thoughts free flow.
Yes.
It's good for me.
Okay. Like, are you like improvising your stand-up, or are you doing your set?
No. I'm improvising. I'm not gonna do my set.
You're doing crowd work when there's no crowd there.
Kinda, but I'm trying to practice new material and
I
new
see.
stuff. But I enjoy that. Like
That's
right now,
interesting.
I don't mind if it's of course I would love a full crowd.
Yeah.
But also when you have a full crowd, you have that pressure of like, oh, I need to bring the heat.
Yeah.
You know, I can't come here and like.
Yeah.
mess
It's like
around.
practicing in the gym.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You're getting up shots after the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I've never heard of that before, but that's cool if you can do that.
It's like VR, but for like practicing stand up without a crowd. If that's your thing.
VR stand-up would be a great
Right?
idea to allow people to get on stage, and I'm sure
Oh, that's
somebody's
coming.
developing
I'm
that.
sure
Sure, a lot of
there's
stuff
VR
like it.
porn, VR stand-ups.
Yes, it's got to be a
That's
thing.
easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. The question was, do I enjoy a large crowd or small? Man, the bigger the crowd, the better. That's what I was like. It gives me. I mean, the crowd gives you so much energy.
Mm.
I remember one time I was doing a play, and it was closing at this play.
Or even better yet, my bad for interrupting, but like a small theater packed or a big theater packed.
Bigger the better. Like I can't. I've never conceived the idea of like performing in front of a stadium. You know what I mean? That feels like too many people.
Yeah.
Like especially when like you see the stand-up comedians.
You imagine like
on tour
improv
and-
from like the
Oh my
Oh, it's a
the
nightmare.
Dodger Stadium.
It's a with the sound system, and it would be that would be a nightmare.
Give us one word suggestion.
Roar! Gotcha. Like no, like I couldn't. That's not a thing. That's not a thing at all. Like a Broadway size, because like Broadway theaters aren't really that big. Like a Broadway size theater, I think is the best. It's it's a nice amount of intimacy. This theater is kind of small and a little narrow. There's probably anywhere from 400 to less than 1,000 people in there most times. That's the perfect crowd to me. Under 1,000 people. But I was about to tell you, I did a play once, and it was like the closing out of the play, and the place was packed. Like the balcony, everything was packed. And I remember like my character, I come out on stage, and I remember like looking right up at the audience, because like I always looked out when I came out or whatever, so it wasn't like I was breaking character, but I look out and I see the place completely packed in the balcony, and I've never seen anything like it. It's the most people that probably ever seen me perform at one time at this point in my life. And I remember just the energy that came into me. It wasn't nervous, because I was used to doing a play, but it's like, oh, we about to catch fire. It's time. We going, like, Denzel Washington is coming out of me tonight. You know what I mean? I'm giving the best performance I've ever given to date. So yeah, because you want to give everybody their money's worth, and you want to give everybody a good show. So yeah, intimate setting, 200 people is great. Under 1,000 is fine, and yeah, I think that's an ideal audience. I mean, but also you do improv and you're performing in front of like 10 people, 15, 20 people. So that's cool too. But intimate, large setting, tight. I want them touching shoulders in there. I want you to be able to feel the guy laughing next to you. Yeah, that's ideal for me.
And we talked about VR,
Improv
and
box.
I watched recently Ready Player One. And one thing that I noticed about you is that you are a pioneer when it comes to something called Insta series. You've been doing like little shows and little things on Instagram. And one thing you were doing is the movie Passenger.
Yep.
What is this movie Passenger thing?
So the movie Passengers came about because me and my buddy Don Dino Spazzini, the other movie Passenger, Movie Pass that came out. And we're like, what is this Movie Pass thing? Like, oh, you can watch movies for $10 a month, like as many as you want for 30 days, And it's like one movie a day. We're like, what if we challenge Movie Pass into seeing one movie a day? Let's see. First of all, let's just see if the thing works. And we kind of laughed about it as a joke. And like, well, what if we really did go watch a movie a night and we created like a 30-day challenge for ourselves and we just documented the experience? We were going to do it anyway. So like, well, why not just show everybody else us doing it? So for 30 days and 30 nights, we went to go see a movie. And some interesting things did happen during that time. One thing, the Movie Passenger app had shut down one night, so one night we didn't actually see a movie, which was like, well, we got to document that experience, and if you ever watched that video, I was really upset in it, and that was just that was maybe more entertaining than watching us review the movie, just seeing me be flustered at Movie Pass. But a cool thing happened.
Did they make it up for you guys?
No, they didn't make it up. I mean, it's $10 for as many movies as you can watch. Like, hey, I want my 10-cent refund. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. There's nothing to it.
Here's a Pepsi winner
Yeah,
circle.
right, exactly. Like, what are they gonna do?
Not even free popcorn, man.
Nothing. Didn't get. I went home. That was my gift.
You got home safe.
I got home safe. Thanks, Movie Pass.
Not you, Google.
Google. Supposed to be muted. See, the interesting thing happened because when you think about the movies, you think most movies that come out are bad. You know, you go to a movie, you pay your $15-16 out here in LA, and you're like, oh, that was terrible. You know, that's, I think, that's the most experience that you have. Like, the most frequent experience is a bad movie experience, you know? At least, I mean, I used to go to the movies at least once a week.
The odds are against you.
The odds are against you. You know, you see 4 movies a month. I do. I'm a big-time movie buff, so it's like, I would only go on Tuesdays, like, at the Regal when it was like $8. So, like, I picked the cheapest day.
Yeah.
Right?
I done that.
Those are the best.
That's the best. It's an $8 movie. So I would spend about $32 a month on movies. So a $10 movie pass is easy. And what I learned was when you're not paying for the movies, those movies get way better.
Yeah, they do.
They're way better. There's nothing lost. I saw 2 legitimately bad movies during that time. And I'll say what those movies are because I don't care. One of them was The Snowman, starring Michael Fassbender. It was awful. The other movie was, I knew it was going to be awful going into it. It was Tyler Perry's Medea Boo 2 Halloween thing.
Oh, with the YouTubers and...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I never seen a Tyler Perry movie before. So I'm like, well, this is the perfect time. There's nothing to lose. It was bad, but it was expectedly bad. You know, it was from beginning to end. It was like and here's a weird thing. I really admire Tyler Perry, what he did. You know, like this guy built his own studio, you know, making his movies with his character.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant and I love it. But my thing is at this stage of the game, he's been doing it for how many years, how many decades? There's no way a movie should be like that poorly sequenced and edited, and the story should have that many flaws and that many plot holes. That I don't understand. It's like, I feel like Tyler Perry wrote that movie in 2 days and said, we're done, we shot it, and that took another 2 days and they were done. And like, put it in the cinemas, the whole thing took like 11 days from...
Yeah, I think honestly, even putting the fact that he put all these YouTubers there, he was like, I'm not even going to try to promote it. I'm going to let them promote it for me. I'll pay you, you'll be in the movie.
And maybe that was an experiment.
Yeah.
It could have been an experiment. Like, let's see what happens when you put a bunch of YouTubers in a movie and see if they can carry the thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Boo 2 did good numbers because it's a Tyler Perry movie. And they don't cost anything to make. So Tyler Perry's brilliant. I mean, I'm not a fan of the work, but I'm a fan of...
methodology?
Of the method and of the what he's doing. Just his ambition. And I mean... No one's had a major studio outside of the studio system. You know what I mean? And he's not even in Hollywood. He built it in Atlanta. So you gotta admire that. You got to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And he's done it on the backs of mostly bad movies. Like, I love it. I love it.
That's actually a lot of fun if you think about it.
If you think about it.
You just go get a crazy idea, just whip it out, and if people pay for it.
People pay
you got
for
money.
it. Tyler Perry's having a great life.
Yeah.
You can't be mad at that guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You know?
That's inspirational.
It is inspirational. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it if Tyler Perry can. No disrespect to Tyler Perry, I love him, but anybody can do it, and he's proven that, and that's inspiration to itself.
I mean, I think you just gotta find your own curiosity, right? And then you're just doing weird stuff, and eventually something's gonna hit, and you're gonna keep doing that thing more.
And you find your niche, and there's clearly an audience for it, so keep doing it.
And you're doing stuff. You have a sketch group. You have a sketch like YouTube channel.
Yeah, we got off of Tyler Perry pretty hard there. As I do. Tyler Perry comes up in all my conversations.
Does this happen? We'll put a sign out.
You said a sketch group?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So my sketch group is First Team 4. Okay. That's something that I started week 1 when I moved out to LA. It was 4 of us.
From like 5-7 years ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We started like right away. As soon as we got out here, 2011. I think we were out here maybe a week or 2 before we shot and completed our first video, and it didn't go viral, but it started to generate hits pretty fast. So we're like, well, let's keep doing this thing. And we put out about 20 videos before YouTube canned us. And they canned us on some weird technicality or whatever. We weren't like putting up weird content or nothing, but they said that we were using like spider software to promote our videos. And I was like, what is spider software? What are you talking about?
I never heard of that. I got copyright strikes, but I never got...
So what we were using a program that sent out emails to people. That's it. And it sent out like 5 emails a minute. So we would just leave our computer on. And they said that we were violating their terms by promoting it in that way. So they just canned our whole channel. And at that point, we had about maybe 2,000 subscribers or something like that. And we did it organically. Like, it's not like we had went out and spent any money or promoted anything. It was just like, drop the video. Whoever finds it, finds it. You know what I mean? But yeah, I still produce videos and we still knock stuff out. Not as many as I would like, but we're going to get back to that pretty soon. Yeah.
And now you're working on a short film.
I'm working on a short film right now. total passion project. The film started off. It's called Callback. It started off as a joke that I was working on for my stand-up. I was doing stand-up at the time, and I was telling 2 other writers
At the time,
about
not
it.
anymore?
No, I don't really do stand-up too much anymore. I had one really my last set was at the Comedy Store, and it was a really fantastic set.
Belly room?
Main room.
Main room?
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
I knew a promoter,
Okay.
and he actually forced me to do the show because I didn't really do stand-up. He goes,
Was it a bringer show?
no, it wasn't a bringer show. It was just a show. And he was like, hey man, you can be on the show or whatnot. And I was like, nah, I don't need to do stand-up. He goes, you're funny, do stand-up. So I started like practicing to do stand-up, and over the course of like maybe, I don't know, a little less than 2 years or whatnot, I was still doing shows with this guy, and he goes, well, come do a show at the main room. I'm like, great. Had a fantastic set the room on fire, and then I kind of walked away from it like, I did it. Didn't stand up. Like it took, maybe almost 2 years on and off to create a really strong 7 minutes or whatever. I did it, and I'm done. And I didn't have any regrets about it. Like I probably will. Hopefully one day I go back to it, but that was my stand-up life. But from that came a joke that I was working on, and I was talking to a couple of writers about it, and they were like, dude, that's not a joke, that's a movie. I was like, well, what do you mean? And they kind of broke it down, and like, yeah, it does. It has all the plot elements of a movie. And we sat in a Starbucks.
And that's how you wrote Back to the Future. No.
And now it's out. And I actually released it a while ago because of the time machine and the... No. So we wrote this thing in like 20 minutes in a coffee shop. It was super easy to write, and I kind of just developed it, and then all of a sudden, over the last few months, the pieces that I need kind of came together. Like the actress materialized, the cinematographer materialized. I'm like, oh snap, like I didn't do any of this. It just sort of came to me. Like the universe brought these people to me. Time to shoot this movie. And so yeah, I'm just finishing up the script now, and hopefully the thing will be shot this month, and then it can.
Sounds like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think it's definitely gonna happen. And it's a good script too, man. I'm really proud of it. It's really a story about forgiveness in its essence. We'll see if it can be effectively conveyed. If I do the movie effectively, then people will know that it's a movie about healing and forgiveness without me ever mentioning it. But it's also going to be very funny. So, yeah, it's a good story.
And it's also a testament of just throwing yourself into the unknown. Because if you wouldn't have done that set at the Comedy Store...
That's true. Hey, that's actually a good point. I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
I really had no ambition. I've always admired stand-up comedy. I thought it was the purest art form forever. It's a guy talking to a group of people with a microphone.
Hey. Or a lady.
Or a lady. I mean, a guy, a lady. You know what I mean. But, it's a human talking to, or an animal, whatever. But it's a human on a stage. And all you have is a microphone, like a stand, and sometimes a chair, right? And that's it. And, like, now you have to entertain with your stories and ideas. To me, that was super pure, and I wanted to experience that. And you're right. Had I not experienced it, that idea for the movie would have never came about.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's great.
Serendipity at its finest. Now tell us about this trip to Iceland.
Ooh.
Because you go from a place that has seasons to a place that doesn't have seasons to a place that is cold AF.
And it also doesn't have seasons.
Oh, it doesn't have seasons?
Well, it does actually.
You only stayed there for like a month, right?
No, I wasn't there that long. I was there for like a week.
Oh, a week?
Yeah. I went to Iceland to really just like photograph the place and get to know it, because I bought this cool new camera, and I was like, well, where's a better place to test it out than another
You're
country?
like, Iceland.
What camera did you get?
Google Earth.
I had got a Canon 5D.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was a good camera, and I was like,
Good money.
Yeah, good money for real. And so I'm like, I'm gonna see what this thing can do out, and I wanted to get the Northern Lights and all that kind of stuff, and I did. I got a little Northern Light action as I learned how to use the camera. So it was weird, but.
And you went with a group of friends.
Yeah, I went with a group of friends.
That's the tribe.
From the tribe, people from Second City.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was brilliant. It was super funny trip. It was a super funny trip and super good time, and I'll never forget it. And Iceland is awesome. You know what? Iceland is awesome and weird as any Nordic island should and probably would be. I think it was a lot like Canada. Have you ever been to Canada? They're very similar to Iceland in attitude. Super nice people.
Okay.
Super great culture. Very helpful. Everybody was very kind. I mean, that was my experience at least. I went to a Viking bar one night just to see what a Viking bar was, and literally the people in that bar looked like descendants of Vikings. I was like, yes, clearly you're Vikings. Absolutely, you people are Vikings.
Wow.
It was
You're
wonderful.
huge.
Yeah, they were massive people with big long
Riding
beards
horses
and
with
just
swords.
broad, and No
It was
swords,
like a
no
Comic-Con
horses.
thing, though. They were just like people
No, they
who
were
had
just
the feel.
humans.
That's
Just
cool.
a giant
They have a
human
hat
with
with,
a
like,
giant
horns in
mug
it.
of beer. Yeah, I mean they didn't have that. No,
That's
none
Comic-Con.
of that stuff. Yeah, that's Comic-Con. But they were clearly ancestors of Vikings. I could
Wow.
tell by looking at them. You know what I mean?
Was there a language barrier at all?
No.
Did it exist?
No, they spoke English very well. I don't think I ran into anyone who couldn't speak English.
But that's not like native there, right?
Mm-mm.
They're just
they,
doing it
they
for
speak
show
Icelandic.
off.
They have a language.
Is that similar to English?
No, even their words. I mean, some of their
They're like
spellings.
dialects, right?
They have an alphabet that's not even really that similar to ours. They use some of the same alphabet, but then they have like characters that you don't even recognize. Like they have a backwards P or something like that that has like I think a buh sound or a duh sound. So it's really hard. Like when you read the signs, you can kind of make it out, but if you don't know phonetically what these weird characters even sound like, and some of them have like more than one sound, like they have like a double sound, like a buddha or whatever. You know, it's weird. But yeah, it wasn't that hard to get along in Iceland though. You know, my Google Maps thing worked, so the cell phone helped. Yeah, it was great.
Did you learn a couple sentences or words?
No, I didn't. I mean, maybe I did at the time, but I would have forgotten them by now. Did I learn any?
Did you learn what the P meant? Backwards P over there? Or here?
Yeah. It was phonetically the sound was like it was a B sound. It was like buh or duh or budda or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of German, it seems. A little
Yeah.
bit, like bitte, they kind of say sometimes.
Yeah.
Like please, I think that makes.
Yeah, their language, it does have it has its own harsh reality to it, you know, and I'm sure it comes from like living in a very cold climate and fermenting all your food underground and then eating it a year later to survive. Like it's a hard life, but it's a drinking culture over there. People drink a lot.
What about the food?
Food's not that great, to be honest with you. A lot of fish because it's an island. Dried fish.
Are they pokey?
No, they're not even pokey. I forget what kind of fish it
It
is.
could be the next thing though.
A lot of lamb too, though. I had a lamb dinner over there. That was by far the best lamb dinner I ever had. But the food wasn't that great. Like we bought our own food at the market and just kind of cooked it at home.
I had a lamb burger before, but here in LA, I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
No, I didn't like the aftertaste.
Of the lamb.
Yeah.
It's
Kinda like-
gamey.
Yeah.
It's a little gamey.
Yeah, it's gamey, kind of musky in taste. This is acquired. It's an acquired taste probably for most people. Most people I know who don't eat lamb don't really like it if they didn't like grow up with it. It's not really their thing.
Yeah, I just tried to be curious. I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I don't like the aftertaste.
Well, give it another try. Because lamb burger is different because it's ground up meat, so like the flavor is going to be different. Like you should have like a chop. Get yourself a lamb chop.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I
Now,
thought.
what would they have with these like fish or lamb? Like, was there like rice? Was there like
Let me see. What did we have? There's
vegetables?
not a lot of vegetables on the island because you got to remember Iceland is a volcanic island. It was made by volcanoes, so the island is mostly black, and trees don't even grow there. That's what we learned. Trees don't. If you see a tree in Iceland, it was imported. It does not grow out of the ground.
Like most in California, right?
Yeah, like palm
the palm
trees
trees,
in
yeah.
California. They're not from here. It's just, culturally we think they are, but they're not. So yeah, produce is pretty expensive over there because everything has to be shipped. But I mean, I think with my lamb, I might have had like potatoes and some vegetables or something like that. But for the most part, yeah, I don't remember eating rice or anything like that. Eggs, you get eggs over there.
There's chickens there?
Yeah, there's chickens there. Yeah, I guess you can have
Or
chickens
they're
everywhere.
dinosaur eggs?
No, they could have been. Who knows?
Yeah, right?
But quail eggs, maybe, I don't know. But we definitely. I ate eggs like every morning. Yeah, I mean, it's Iceland, man. You're gonna eat fish and shark and weird stuff like that. Like that's what you eat. That's what's around. Oh, they eat puffin over there. Do you know what puffin is? Puffin is the cute little bird that looks like a penguin, and they have their own island called Puffin Island. There's even a children's program about it, like a children's cartoon show. And when I heard about it, I was like, oh man, Puffin Island, that's a real place? Are you kidding me? And then I saw it on the menu. I'm like, oh man, they're eating those puffins. And they're these cute little birds that like hobble around or whatever. But I didn't have any puffin. I refused.
Were you talking about the one in Happy Feet?
That's a penguin.
Oh, okay.
But it looks like a penguin. There might have been a puffin in Happy Feet. It wouldn't surprise me.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys may have to fire up the Happy Feet and see. But Yeah, so the Icelandic diet is a little strange, but they have fast food over there too. They have fast food I didn't even recognize, like different fast food companies. I mean, I didn't eat any of it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm real particular about food. You know what I mean? Especially when I travel abroad, I just try to keep it super simple. I don't want to get sick.
Well, it varies greatly too by
Mhm.
traveling easily.
Yeah.
Like being accustomed to styles of eating or tolerance of food that you're
Mhm.
not used to having so much of. Like,
Yeah.
what is it, like India, I think people
Yeah.
go and they can't have as much the veggies as they do
Yeah.
or something, or it's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you travel to a country where you gotta get like shots or something like that before you go.
You have to get shots for it?
No, you don't have to get shots. But it's like if I did have to get shots before I went to a country, I'm not eating anything. I want to keep it as simple as possible. You know what I mean? I want to buy juices from the store or something. Like I don't know, like just try to keep it super simple. The worst thing in the world, and I've had friends who have traveled and gotten sick, food poisoning. Like while in Africa, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man, you don't want that. Or actually, she was in India. My friend Katie went to India, got sick while she was there, and sick for like the whole week she's in India.
My
throwing
friend
up.
Jason Taylor, he's been on the show.
I know a Jason Taylor.
You know Jason Taylor? Oh, okay.
Probably not that
one,
Jason
no.
Taylor.
He's a musician.
Jason
but,
Taylor, I know is definitely not a musician.
he went to Thailand for a month and he got sick of street food.
Whoa.
Yeah, he was like throwing up.
That seems like a mistake. Street food. Street food to me always seems like a mistake. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Unless it's like in LA, like taco trucks don't really count. But like even the guy outside like the nightclub selling the hot dogs on the vendor thing, the tray. You know what I'm talking about? The guy who sets up just like a pan, like a pan, and he like just frying hot dogs on that
It's a
pan
tray with fire underneath it.
Yeah, with a little tray with fire underneath it. I'm not eating that hot dog, man. Like there's like safety.
It looks appetizing. You pass.
They smell great. There's
great.
onions and there's seasoning and it smells fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'm not because like I know at a restaurant they have to at least wash their hands. I hope they're washing their hands. But that guy didn't wash his hands. He just unloaded everything out the truck. There's no Purell around.
There's no
nothing.
ritual to it that makes it nice and good.
I don't want it. And it's probably fine. Maybe I'm being over the top with it. But the truth of the matter is like I don't want to get sick off of food poisoning. And if I can avoid it, there's a few simple things you can do to avoid food poisoning. Don't eat street food, especially in a foreign country. There's people making food with their feet out here. I don't want any parts of it.
And not washing them.
And not washing their feet before they make the food. Of course not. That'd be nice if they did, but they're not.
I tried if they had clean feet, and that was the thing they did.
That's like that thing cool. You would try it, wash your feet.
I gotta see if this is good.
Maybe.
It's like
I couldn't do it.
It's like the shrimp of crafting food.
For me, I don't think you get your feet clean enough for me to want to eat your foot food.
You're gonna have to take a day off the feet. To do that.
Yeah, exactly. Take a day off your feet. You gotta soak them for a while, man.
Now, on your travels, what's been the bombest food you ever had?
In traveling, honestly. As far as like cities go, I mean every city has their own thing, and I have favorite restaurants all over the place, but I gotta say Atlanta probably has the best food that I've ever had, bar none. I've never been to a bad restaurant in Atlanta. From soul food to like the chicken wings to the best burger I ever had. It was in Atlanta, the Vortex. And like everybody probably has a claim to fame for a burger, something as simple as a burger, but the Vortex in Atlanta, by far the best burger I've ever had.
Is that the place with the skull?
That's the place, Little 5 Points.
Yeah. I wanted to go there.
Yeah, well you gotta go there. It's amazing. I went to San Francisco earlier this year, and I went to this place that was it was called Swan's Oyster Bar, or Oyster Depot, Swan's Oyster Depot. And the place is 114 years old. And they get fish and oysters in there daily. And they have like the smallest menu in the world. There's only like maybe 15 bar seats. And I saw it on Anthony Bourdain, and he said that he goes there every time he goes to San Francisco. So I was like, let me try it. And it was magical. It was so good. I mean, something as simple as just fresh oysters and fish can just be a wonderful experience, you know what I mean? Not seasoned any particular way or anything like that. It was just a great experience. Really nice people working there. Like they explained the history of the place for me. It was amazing. So yeah, I'm a seafood guy. Like I love all types of seafood. I eat octopus now.
You need to go to Puerto Rico, man.
Yeah, they eat a lot of octopus in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, octopus.
Yeah.
We got oysters too. Carrucho. I don't know what carrucho is.
You don't know what it is.
I know, but it tastes amazing.
Is it a fish or is it like a crustacean? Is it a...
Yeah, I think it's a fish. I think. No, I don't think it's a fish. It's some
like
I don't know.
Like a shrimp or something, or?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but it tastes amazing.
It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. I heard in the Bahamas they eat a lot of seafood too.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, the island nations,
Yeah.
Jamaica, those places. Yeah. Jamaica, there's a lot of goat. Do you guys eat goat in Puerto Rico?
No, not really.
Okay.
They eat iguana in Puerto Rico.
What?
They eat iguana in Puerto Rico.
Really?
No.
Yeah, not knowing it's iguana sometimes.
Regularly? Like, it's part of the...
I legit took like a field trip once to like the rainforest, and they told us if you see an iguana, kill it because overpopulation.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
They're like, kill it, eat it.
Eat it. Yeah, legit. And I have friends with like pet iguanas. They have them like right here. And yeah, I had an iguana here once. They're very like, what you call it, like attachable to you, and their skin is very rough.
Yeah.
But they grow so long, like super long, like 21. I'm talking about like 21 feet.
Yikes.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's really weird to me. To like anything that can be considered like a pet, like in Puerto Rico, like okay, iguana.
Some people got pet iguanas, yeah.
And then
like
also,
leashes and everything, like
I'm making dinner tonight. What are you making? Iguana. You know, it's like, well, what about Randy, the pet iguana over here? You know what I mean? Like he's got to smell his people cooking. You know, that's effed up, man. I don't like it.
Hey,
Puerto Rico's weird.
You're the one eating tiny penguins.
I didn't eat the puffin, man.
Oh, you didn't order
I
it?
refused to eat it.
Oh, okay, I thought you ordered it.
No.
Like, hey, a puffin, please.
No, I ate
Take
a
it
lamb, but I don't have a pet lamb. And if I did have a pet lamb,
Mary had a little lamb.
Mary did. I didn't know Mary, but if I did have a pet lamb, I probably wouldn't eat lamb. Oh, I would still eat lamb. If I had a pet lamb, I would still eat lamb. So I get it.
I knew Mary. She's a great singer, Mary J. Blige.
Is that who they're talking about?
I think so, right? I mean, she's a singer. And
Yeah. Could you guys do that if you had a pet of something? Could you then eat that thing?
I can't eat cat. I can't, like,
Who eats cat, Steve?
Asian people.
Do they?
They eat dog for sure.
They do eat dog. I saw a whole documentary about it.
I'm sure they eat
That's
cat.
next level.
Yeah. When you start eating dogs.
You never
Not
know.
Star, they've been eating dogs forever. But
Maybe one day you try a little dog. And you'll be
honestly,
like,
I thought that was like
It's
a racist like stereotype.
good.
And then I saw the documentary about it, and like there's like a whole town of people like dog is just what they eat. You know what I mean? I was like, whoa! Like I thought like people were being like racist and crazy all these years. And I remember my granddad who fought in the Korean War. He would always like, oh, I'm not eating any Asian food. I'm not eating any of that. Anytime you ever went to an Asian restaurant of any kind, he's like, I'm not eating that. You guys eating cat. You don't even know it. Like, oh, shut up, granddad. We're not eating cat. And then like, oh, yes you are. If you're not, you're eating dog. And come to find out, he was right. He was right. We were probably eating dog and cat for years. There's been restaurants shut down in Detroit for serving dog. So
My sister went to this place in Puerto Rico, got shut down. It was called Golden China. She ordered an egg roll. She bit the egg roll. There's a cockroach right there.
Oh no! Was it cooked into the egg roll, or was it just living in the egg roll?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'd like to know the details.
Yeah, I want to know the details.
Please get back to us.
I'll ask her and let you know for sure.
Did she get the cockroach in her mouth, or is it just like right on the edge?
I think she went like, and that's when she saw it.
That's the worst. So your sister shut the place down.
Maybe she was one of them.
I would have shut the place down. That place would. If I find a roach in my food at a restaurant, I'm shutting that place down by myself. Right there.
Oh yeah, I would totally do it too.
I'm going to the kitchen.
I don't think my sister was that savvy.
Yeah.
At the time, she's not savvy overall.
Yeah.
But,
I'm gonna. Listen. We talk about nasty health concerns in restaurants. There's a place in LA that a buddy of mine went to, and he said there was mice running around on the floor.
No.
And he told the waitress, like, hey, excuse me, I just saw a mouse on the floor or whatever. And they ignored him, like, oh yeah, that's, so-and-so. He's here sometimes. Like, trying to joke it off. He goes, no, I'm serious. And then he saw another one. And then come to find out, you know what I'm saying, they end up getting shut down for having, like, mice in their kitchen. Or mice droppings in the kitchen or whatever. So, nasty place. I don't remember the name of it, but some place he took his wife. It was gross, to say the least. Yeah.
Christina, do you have any questions for him before we wrap it up?
Yeah, just to clarify, so Steve before the show actually sent me your kombucha sketch, and I thought it was awesome.
Oh,
I love the writing, the acting is great. Now that you said it was like a quick thing and it was like pretty much improv in the moment, it makes a lot of sense, and I also see that original quality that's there. So I was wondering, like, do you write? Do you shoot? Like, what facets are you like most connected with in that stuff?
I really love to write. And one thing that I learned from doing improv is that improv is writing, right? Because you're making it up on the spot.
Yeah.
And what's the difference between you writing and you making it up on the spot? The difference is there's a piece of paper and a pen in front of you, and you're jotting the idea down.
Yeah.
That's it. So one lives and then disappears, and one is recorded. That's the only difference between improv and writing. So with that sketch specifically, we said, let's not write it, let's just do the thing. So we kind of just did the improv, and then we mapped it out. Like, okay, just to remember it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, all right, well then
So
we'll
you
do
like
that.
kind of rehearsed
Yeah,
yeah,
we didn't really rehearse it either though. It was just our outline. So we did the improv, you know, we filmed it like one time or whatever, we did the improv and like, all right, so this is what we do. And then of course, like with the other takes, you can go back and like, you know, add whatever you want. It's still improv.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why more people don't do that.
Yeah, right. I used to do that when I started actually making narrative fun stuff with cameras, because I was just skateboarding at first, and then I would just like make up a story as I went. And when I'm finished, I'm like, this is beautiful. I mean, like I look back now, and the story really wasn't there, wasn't described, but I felt so good about it. You know, imagine turning that into something now, like not turning that into something, but doing something now that, like you're saying,
like that.
Improv.
Yeah.
I really like that authentic outpouring of creativity.
I will say this though, this is important. I actually was inspired to do that because I saw this movie from John Cassavetes.
Ooh, okay.
It's called, I believe it's called Shadows.
Okay.
John Cassavetes movie from the 50s, and he was doing an acting class in New York, and he had these actors in the class, and he had this camera equipment. He goes, well, let's shoot a movie. No script. Completely improvised this movie. All the actors are, you know, most of them didn't really do that much work after that, but all of it's so good. All the acting in it is brilliant, the story is brilliant, and he had took like a 2-month break from filming, and they went back and looked at the footage, and they're like, oh, I know what we can do with the story now. So he brought all the actors back. One of the actors had already moved out to LA. He's like, you gotta come back. So I think he paid for a ticket. He said, please come back, you know, and they end up shooting the rest of this thing with like what he now saw was the story. Incredible film. It's a Criterion movie. Incredible movie. So if you ever have time, check out John Cassavetes' Shadows, completely improvised movie, like a 90-minute movie. It's great.
You know, that's funny. I worked at a Container Store for a while, and people knew that I liked making films. It was like people were more about it than I was. So like somebody gave me like a bunch of these just plain DVDs in like an envelope, and I think that was actually one of the films that was among them. There's just a bunch of like weird like old films that were like considered good films. And that really stands out.
It's from the 50s. It's like
a
movie, which it makes it so much more radical that they did an improvised movie in the 50s. And it's just it's directed so and the story's incredible too. It's about a young mixed race girl who is dating a white guy, and then he comes home, she invites him back home to meet like her brother and her brother's friend and or whatever, and they're like, you know, they're like listening to jazz records or something. He comes in and he goes, oh, your family's black. What? You know, and he has a fit, and like he doesn't like her anymore, and then that becomes like a whole thing. And it's just brilliant that they pulled that out of like an improvised story. And it's such a poignant story, and it's so important. And it happened in the 50s, you know what I mean? Like it was really like deep stuff in the 50s.
Yeah, racism.
You know?
It sounds like they were able to get that out easily because of that format.
Yeah, probably.
Might it not have happened.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about that. You can see what you've already like improvised and like finesse it and make it a really good thing.
Yeah.
There's something about bringing it out that way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, you have the footage, you can go back and look at it. And it's time consuming, but with Julian Gant specifically, me and him have been doing it for so long, there's nobody I trust more in improv, you know? Together, our improv is super dynamic because it's, for me, it's the closest thing I'll probably ever have to playing jazz music, you know? I trust whatever he does on stage or whatever I do on stage, neither one of us can mess up. Because the next note, like Miles Davis used to always say, the next note always corrects it. You play a bad note, you can always correct it with the next note. And so it's like, as long as I trust him and he trusts me, it will never be a bad set. Because we're just going to tell a story and that's it. You know what I mean? It's easy. It's super easy with someone like that. So as far as like shooting that, it's a breeze. We'll probably do more. Just improvise. I mean, what does it take? A camera guy and a sound person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it.
You just releasing that creative energy.
Yeah. Exactly.
In the most cohesive way possible.
Yeah.